Friday night, I want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea, I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry coulis. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights, I want a Chippy Tea.
Right, okay, here we go then. Hold on tight, you suicide riders. The louder you scream, the faster we go.
How long have you been saving that up for?
Welcome to episode 28 of Chippy Tea podcast. What is it? It is a nice, unscripted, unedited, as you can probably tell from that intro.
Off at guff.
Your chance to listen in, to eavesdrop, to have a bit of a nosy into a conversation between me, Tony Palmer at Palm Print, and
Danny Day from Flipper Sweet Print Co.
As we mull over what we've been doing this week, what trials and tribulations we've come across, what's made our eyes go wide open, and what's made us want to sit and hide in the corner and hug ourselves while we rock slowly. So, as is the tradition, as we open up the same every time, I'm going to throw it straight over to my mate Danny. What have you been doing this week? Tell me how your short, because it's only 3-day week. So how's your short week been? What have you been up to?
Well, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, and I don't want you to feel hard done by, but I actually went on another podcast. I'm not cheating.
Cheated on me.
I'm not cheating. I went on a podcast with a fella from Australia who's got a shop in Australia, and
Which
he has an Australian podcast. But he happened to be in UK for a month or two to see his mum, because I think originally he's from England. And he invited me on his podcast, and I had a little chinwag with an Australian bloke, and that was fun.
What was the podcast?
So the podcast I forgot the name of the podcast, but his shop is called, that's a good start, isn't it? The Ministry of T-shirts in Australia. And he's got a podcast. I'm not sure if it's a Ministry of T-shirts podcast, but I'll put the link out when it's ready. I think it'll be ready sometime later in January.
That's strange. I've had 3 contacts with Australia this sort of like last 3 weeks. Which has been strange because it's never somewhere I've been, or it's not on my radar, and it's not much I know about. And I'd love to go, but I got one call from a guy who I'll probably meet in a couple of weeks' time when we go over to Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach.
And discuss something that's going over there, and a couple of other little ones that have been just sort of like DMing on Instagram, a bit of advice and stuff. So, yeah, it's a strange Australian link there.
That's how it works, eh? He was very complimentary of the podcast. He said he'd been listening, very complimentary of your knowledge. So
Good.
Nobody's ever complimented my knowledge for some reason, but, you know.
There is a reason. We just
not bitter.
get over it.
But other than that, to be honest, you know, the press hasn't been spinning too much. I did make a promise that until I have fully put down my life plans, I'm not touching that press. And I've stuck to that promise. I've had a little print, but full printing production resumes on Monday. So next week I'll have a bit more of a print anecdote to tell you, I'm sure.
Have you been organising and cleaning, or have you just been having a bit of downtime? Because everybody needs downtime.
I haven't had not much downtime. I've had a little bit of downtime. It's nice when you... The problem I've got is when I do get that bit of downtime, my mind is freed up from production and all that shite.
There's
it starts
wandering into
now. What else can I do? How can I grow? And actually, it's been very helpful. I really have needed it. And I think I've put together enough thought to get over that hurdle, which I've struggled with for a lot of years, of growing the shop, and now to the hurdle of I can't possibly grow because I'm up to eyeballs in production. Balancing the two stresses, I'm either up to eyeballs in production or I'm skint. So I'm thinking, oh shit, I better get orders in. And you can never get, you know, you're always in panic mode. So you're always on high alert and high stress. And I think I might have come up with an idea, plan that allows me to just get past that hurdle and then get on to the next step of flipping sweet, which hopefully involves a machine that spins itself and pulls ink for me.
Some three-phase power, hopefully.
Well, that's. I need another shop for that, but I have had the thought, though. I mean, me and you had a quick talk about it. And I am giving it some serious consideration. If I can automate the screen room first, and obviously I'm not going to go into I'm not going to go into anybody and getting a car wash full dollar. But if I can pick up some bits,
but there are other ways. Yeah. There's lots of other stuff in there. Yeah.
I mean, an auto coater. If I can get a used auto coater for a few quid, that'd be a. That's so much. Do you know what? I don't think that's a huge time saver necessarily, but definitely in terms of consistency, I feel like that's a bit of a game changer.
It's not a time saver. It's a variable reducer, basically.
Yeah.
It cuts out any. It helps you starting to set some constants.
That's important. Yeah.
Now, it's not too bad for you because you are the constant anyway, so it's always you that does it. So chances are you're probably quite constant and quite straight every time anyway. But there's always that Monday morning against Friday afternoon sort of thing.
I like
the same.
I like that it's either. I mean, I'm not sure if it's a dial or a digital code, but I like that the thickness is you can almost set it. I mean, you'll tell me, I don't know, I've never used one, but I'm sure I can set the parameters of the thickness that I want. And I have considered recently, actually, it leads on well, actually, this, things like tote bags. I feel like I would prefer a thicker stencil when I'm printing material such as a tote bag, because it's hard to fill that. It's hard to fill a tote bag material, especially the cheaper, shitty ones that they always pick. The giveaways, I guess. I always have a hard time printing those. I don't enjoy it. But I feel like one of the variables that would improve that would be a thicker stencil.
So my theory with tote bags, with any sort of bags, if I give a T-shirt to a bag printer, they struggle a little bit. And if I give a bag to a T-shirt printer, they also struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I do.
But the logic doesn't follow because they're both cotton products. They're both widely available. They're both manufactured. They're both, there should be constants in there. But I think there is a skill in knowing the weight of the bag and then how to approach the weight of that bag. I famously was at a place and the buying team, big place, huge concern. The buying team made a decision for the year to buy a few million of these bags that were 15 pence or 15 pence cheaper, I think it was.
Yeah.
So the whole reason for buying this many bags and having them stocked on the floor was price. It's like, look, we've saved 15p. That's awesome. Look at us. We're great. Super.
Yeah.
Get into the press. They're so goddamn tissue thin that the run rate, the number of pieces you can produce, is actually halved.
Yeah.
So now the labour cost is double.
Which is way more than 15p a bag.
Is way more than the 15p per bag. And, you've got to clean the pallets every time because the ink just pisses straight through. You hold it like that to the light and you can see through it. They're really cheap bags. And everybody's like, it's a promo item, it's a giveaway item. Yeah, but it's still a product that needs printing, And when we try and put plastisol ink on it or water-based ink on it, it just flows straight through. Well, after 30 prints, you've got an image on your palette, which just the act of putting the bag on the palette now, it rubs this ink.
Yeah.
And now I've got ink on the inside where the handles are. And it's just an absolute sort of like spiral, a nightmare.
I'm not a fan. I try to avoid it. I don't really go. I've got a 3-colour job. Luckily, it's only a natural colour tote bag, so it's a light colour. I'm going to try print it wet on wet. It's a 3-colour, colourful graphic. And I have to. I'm going to try print it wet on wet, basically because I've only got one tote palette, so I can't spin it, which is a bit of a do. And I don't want to be flash print, and having to wait for it to.
Is it natural?
Natural colour tote bag, yeah. So, and the graphics are pastel colour print. So
water-based, mate. Water-based all day long.
Yeah, it could be an Aquaflex job, I think.
Yeah.
I think it does passes a little easier, doesn't it? Fruit screen and fruit mesh.
Yeah.
You see, you can clear a screen on a T-shirt, no bother. But on a tote bag, a cheap tote bag, it's a nightmare. I feel like I have to really put some muscle into it, and then you just don't get a good crisp print.
You say that. I've got a company in Sheffield not far away from me, and they are expert bag printers. You know, they make it look so goddamn easy. It's untrue. They'd probably struggle with a t-shirt, certainly a black t-shirt, because they don't really know how bases work very well. But as far as cotton shopper bags go, they print for all the museums, you know, the fine art stuff that's really, really sort of intricate and photographic and high detail. But along with that comes the fact that they don't print on these cheap 3p bags.
No. Well, I think you're not going to get cheap garments, a cheap substrate. You're always going to get cheap results, are you? I guess.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
I guess the tricky part is convincing your customer to bump it up 10-15p, and just
go for a better product, with a better surface, a better printable surface.
But their argument is it's a giveaway. So then if you're having to do the old, we're going to have to get extra time, extra people on the press production, you swallow those production costs, but at the end you'll just pay exactly the same. So he's laughing. You're just doing all the extra hard work.
Yeah, you just summed up the industry in sort of like 30 seconds.
I haven't.
Entire industry, even t-shirts.
I should probably get an app that fits, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
This is it. So where's I been, Tony lad? Where's I been?
I've been back to work, mate. I've been sat on my bum for long enough now. I've been back to work. So this week started in with a return trip to an old customer who I've been to. An existing customer. Old customer sounds wrong, doesn't it? An existing customer that I've been to.
You're only as old as a woman you feel, Tony. What was it?
Pass.
She's not in there.
There's a really, really old joke about 2 8-year-olds, which I'm not going to do on here because it's just wrong.
No. I will definitely not make the edit.
So, that was wrong. I've been to go see an old customer, an existing customer about. So this is someone I first went to when they got the press, and my whole goal was, okay, we've gone from manual to an auto. What do we do? What do the buttons do? What should we be doing? So they didn't have any for a long time. They didn't have any facilities to make screens. They made screens at the printers down the road. So the printer down the road charged him a tenner, and he just made a screen for it.
Yeah.
So over the course of a year or so, I've been working with him to bring the screen printing back, the screen making back in house,
right?
And to because he had an exposure unit, just didn't know how to use it.
So he was outsourcing his screens.
Outsourcing screens, yeah. So he bought the screen, and he'd take it about 3 miles away to his mate, who was already a printer and was printing manually, and say, "Will you make this for me?" Yeah, sure. Send me the artwork. I'll print out the film and I'll print it for you, and I'll give me a tenner, basically. So, and this were a bit of a dilemma when I first went. So I'm like, "Well, you're outsourcing your screens?" Yeah, it cost me a tenner. Okay, so you should bring it back in house. Why?
Cost you 15 quid.
But yeah, actually, yeah, I see what you mean here. Now you're going to have to put more time into it. But you're in control of it. Yeah, I don't want to be in control of it. I just want a screen that works. What do you do if it's wrong? The guy's good. He's been doing it 30 years and just never gets it wrong. I've got to stop and question myself here then. So what's the right approach here? Like, no, bring it in-house. You need more control. You need to be able to react to jobs that come. So, yeah, absolutely. If that guy's busy, you might not get screens for 2 days, and that's no good. So
yeah,
you've got an auto now. Let's fill it with work. Let's go that way. So, yeah, went down there. Over the course of probably 18 months, we've been building his confidence up, and he sent me the email. It's the dead same email that we talk about every time. Hi, Tony, hope you're okay. I've got this nightmare job.
Oh, yeah.
So he sent me the visual of the nightmare job. It's a little 5-colour job. It's not really a nightmare, but for him, it scared him to death. So he's like, don't know what to. Can you give me some advice on mesh counts and colour order and blades? So I gave him lots of advice. And he said, right, okay, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, we'll give that a go. Yeah. Are you busy? No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not doing anything. All right, okay. Well, can you come down on Wednesday and we'll save this job for you, this nightmare job, and you can do it. So I'm like, oh, done it again. Let myself into the sunglasses job again.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and went, all right, let's do it. So I was full of trepidation, actually thinking, Tony, do you never learn? You've done it again. You're going to walk down to this place. You're going to go in all Billy Big Bollocks, and you're going to end up looking like a right knob because you can't do it. But we went through everything, got it all set up, nice and steady, nice and slow. Went through the theory of everything. Mesh counts were right. Bought new screens, great. We got new squeegee blades, even better. And we threw it in, and it ran like a dream. It was straight on and straight off. And the guy stood there's like, I've been worried about that job all Christmas. So really? Yeah, all Christmas. I've been thinking about how are we going to do that. It's got to go on Friday. I've got no chance of getting it done in 2 days. It's only 400 pieces. I'm like, you'll be okay, don't worry. We'll get it.
Yeah.
And it just flew off the press like that.
Is this the one that had the potential for colours to bleed?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw it. I can't remember it top of my head, but I remember looking and thinking...
It was a baseball logo, like a hot
That's right,
baseball
yeah.
logo.
Very sharp lines and no bleed whatsoever.
And that was the issue. But, and he'd got the artwork done professionally by our mate. And, but it was wrong.
Oh, John! Dear me, lad.
See, I never said his name. You said his name.
We all know now, don't we?
Yeah.
We all know. His discount code's in the description.
Was it wrong? No, it wasn't wrong. It wasn't optimised for someone who is just worried about this job. So, number one, I'd got light blue shirts. And I'd got a very, very dark navy blue. So
In the ink?
Yeah. A dark blue ink on a very light blue, sky blue shirt.
And he had it on top of it underbase?
Yes, he'd based underneath it, yeah.
Yeah, didn't need it.
And I think this is a skill, I think this is something that it's hard to teach, but once you get the knack of it and you have the confidence. So dark blues, dark browns, dark greens, have some confidence to not base underneath these colours. Remove the base. You'll be surprised how strong the ink is when we remove the base. But then we've got to look at mesh counts. We can't use the high mesh counts if we haven't got a base underneath them.
No.
So we don't want to stick to these 90s that I say stick to every time if we're removing base colours. So using intelligence to select the right mesh to still keep it clean but not have a base underneath it on plastisol is still a skill. And if we can remove that base remove that dark colour from having a base underneath it, we win about 3 times.
Yeah.
The first place we win is now I don't have as many wet colours touching top on top.
No.
I can put my bigger areas towards the other side of the print order. I can use a harder blade and get it out of the way rather than trying to risk putting a softer blade later on and having a dodgy edge.
A bit of spread.
So for me, I think it was a good learning experience in that having that confidence, and it's not something I tell people to do, and I forget about it sometimes. And I'll see a job and it's a nightmare, and I look at it and I go, "Why did we base under that?" And it's too late. We've already produced 20, so I can't change it now.
Yeah. Is it a case of? Well, I mean, if you did spot it, but if you do know. Like you can always tell John. Like I always give John a little bit of guidance on what I'm trying to achieve. I tell him what garment colours are going on, and he gets it right all the time. I don't have to. But if I'm cheating, I mean, bear in mind I've got a 6-colour press, so there are jobs sometimes where I have to do the unspeakable and flash print a high solid Aquaflex base, which is naughty, and I've put my hands up, not supposed to do it, but on a 6-colour when you're restricted and it's I've had to get away with it.
So you don't have a highlight wipe.
So that I've got enough colours to finish the job. I've had to do it. I don't like doing it, but again, John wouldn't know that. but
No.
I know that because I'm sure John's got press experience. I wouldn't know. We
Yes,
wouldn't know as a man of bloody mystery, isn't he? But
No, he needs to come on and tell us, yeah. Stick up for himself.
we'll put a filter on, John. We'll put a mask, an anime filter or something.
Like on Crime Watch, we'll pixelate his face.
Yeah, we'll do that. You can put your grandma's tights on. Nobody will know it's you. If you want to, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to rob a bank, you wear tights, wouldn't you? I meant on your head, not
Just the one stocking, not the pair, but yeah, okay. Just the one around here.
Hey, I've got a question for you, Tony, and it's slightly related to what you just said.
Oh God, is it shaggy related or shower?
No,
shower
I've
related?
got some of them, but we'll save them for later. We'll save them for when we get desperate.
I had a shower one for you.
I thought you were going to say I had a shower once.
No, I had a shower related question for you.
Go on, man. Leave. I'll let you keep that one in memory bank.
Okay.
What was I going to say? 55s, 77s. Are they redundant? Do we need them in a print shop?
Nope.
That annoys me.
So 77s. Yeah, I'll say they're going out of favour. They're falling out of favour, 77s. 55s, absolutely not. 55s are the new 43s.
This is where we're going. To me, I've had this. I think I've brought it up before. I've had this thought back in my mind of scrapping my 40s and going for 55s as my underbases.
So we if we get technical with the width of the thread, then we can go with a higher mesh count with a thinner thread.
Yeah, the super thin stuff.
We can get up to 62 and still get the opacity on a white, which we couldn't get with the thicker thread.
So maybe
And that's because it's all about open area.
Yeah.
So if you imagine the grid of the mesh and looking at the open area, and the open area has a mathematical equation, and it's the thickness of the thread against the width and the length.
Yeah.
Because the thread can take, if we have a square centimetre, the thread can take up maybe 40% of that open area in a centimetre by centimetre. And we can't push ink through thread. We can only push ink through holes.
Yeah.
Or pull in your case.
Oh, you did it. Oh, God. It went off the head, that one.
So having that information is important, because you might go, oh, I printed this job and I put the white on a 62 because it were all I had, and one of them new ones I've just bought, and it will look lovely. I'm going to put all my whites on a 62 now, and then the next job, it doesn't fucking work. That's because that first one was a thin thread. And if you look on your mesh, there are two numbers, 90-48.
Yeah.
That second number is your microns of your thread.
So
It's important to know that.
I think it's somewhat branded, so you can get the thin mesh, and is it like the S mesh or something like that? I think
Hydro is the new
that's
name.
the feel. Yeah, I feel like it.
Hydro.
And is that common?
It's like a
in the
Bond
UK?
villain. It's like a Bond villain. Oh, here comes the Hydro. Yeah, so
do you see much of it?
Yes.
Because
if
I think about
it, will become the norm. It will become the standard.
Because if that's true, and I don't even need, like, if I need to go scrap my 42s and just go 62 instead of 50, because I have honestly thought, scrap my 40s, replace them all with 50s, 55s. What you think? You think it's a possibility with thinner mesh to go 62?
Yeah.
And get a good underbase?
What this also does, Danny, this also is an indicator of your skill and confidence level increasing. And I see this in a lot of shops where I recommend 43/43 for a white because it gives the most opacity. But you've got to be careful because you don't get the best edges.
You don't get as
look
nice.
really close. You don't get the best edges.
No.
But it's good enough for somebody just starting out, just finding the feet, knowing what the machine does, knowing what the press does, knowing what the squeegees are, and then as that skill increases over like a year or so, then start experimenting with higher mesh counts, and these higher mesh counts are giving them great results. It's like, this is working. Tony said not to do this. We have to be careful because the way I explain it, if we're doing it on a white, there is a a particle in the white, which is titanium dioxide, which is the actual white metal bit. Those particles are a certain size
in the ink.
So, yeah,
right.
It's the natural metal that makes it white.
All right. So this must apply to water and plastisol.
Yeah, it's in white.
Anything that's white's got this in it. That's what makes it white.
Yeah, in the same way that anything that's yellow's got chromium, that metal in it.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So these particles get milled to make them smaller and squash and squash and squash. I think the standard for plastisol at the minute is three times through a roller to make them really small.
Yeah.
Any more times through that, they have no opacity and power. Any less times than that, the particles are too big to go through a thin mesh. So if you look on your technical data sheet for your ink that you're buying, you'll see an upper limit of what you can push through what mesh you can push through that ink. And it's not there as it'll look crap if you do this, or we recommend this. It's an absolute limit as to, look, when the holes get this big, the sausage shape that you're trying to push through, it won't go
fit
through.
Yeah.
So we've got to be careful that we don't try and overachieve with this wax. What we end up doing then, if we try and put this white through a 90 or a 120, although it will pass through, what we end up doing over the course of, let's say, 1,000 is sieving. Or filtering the ink. So those bright bits of white metal that make up the ink, they stay on the top where the squeegee is, and all the carrier and the binder passes through.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So we don't get the opacity that we want. Can we push it through? Yeah, because I'm bigger than hard and I've got muscles and I lift weights in my spare time. I can push it through. But do we get the maximum opacity? No. And over time, we could make the ink weaker by filtering the particles that make it bright out.
Wow, a bit of science there for
Technical.
you. Professor
Science.
Professor
Tony's Science Corner, yeah.
Brian Cox just turned up.
Nobody's pulled me up on this bullshit yet, so I hope I'm getting away with it.
Well, I can't doubt it, can I?
There you go, I've just baffled you with bullshit. There's no way of knowing whether I'm right or not.
Right then, Tony, I've got a game for you. I want you to name me a cheap supermarket.
Okay, Aldi.
Right. So is it pronounced Aldi or is it pronounced Aldi?
Depends where you are.
All right. Should it be pronounced Aldi or Aldi?
For me, it's Aldi.
It is. It's Aldi to me. But I shall tell you, actually, you'll find that Aldi was set up by a German fella called Aldrecht. I'm not looking. And he combined his first name, Aldrecht, with the word discount and called it Aldi.
Aldi.
There you
go.
go.
This follows on from my Adidas, doesn't it?
Nike,
Adidas. I know. I'm
gonna
gonna get him back. I'm gonna get him back. Adolf Dassler invented Adidas, and I'm gonna get him back.
Good fun, that
nice
wasn't it?
one. Yeah,
I'm gonna carry this tradition on. No, probably not. It was pure coincidence. I was watching YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel
on Aldi.
Yeah,
you need to get out more.
I sat with my bird.
Find some friends. Have you got some friends?
I was sat with no, I haven't got no friends, but I was sat with my bird, and believe it or not, this is the type of fun activities we get up to. We watch videos on Aldi.
This is not good. This is not putting you in a good light at all. You didn't rescue that at all.
Nobody believes I've got a bird, that's the thing.
Yeah, what a catch. Come round to ours, we'll look at supermarkets online.
No, it's not. Well, it was like the
Little and Chill.
Little and Chill. Just for little. Dear.
Go on.
When you go into a shop and they've got a dip tank, do you have a specific chemical that you recommend? And if you are listening, why don't you comment and tell me what chemical you use? Because I am thinking of dredging my dip tank and putting something fresh in.
Which you should do anyway.
Well, but I mean a new chemical, so not just topping it up this time or refreshing it. I'm thinking of trying something different. The one I used, I wish I could tell you, so I forgot. But it was a combo, so it was supposed to clean ink.
Was it an easy way?
I would guess it probably will, because I'm fairly certain it came from Screen Pit World, so I'm going to guess it probably will. And this particular chemical strips the emulsion, and it's supposed to clean ink. Now, I understand if you don't card off your ink and get the bulk out, it's not going to clean it. But it don't really do out to ink. You get a little bit of leftover staining and stuff like that, and it doesn't bugger all. So
I think you'd be surprised how much it does take off. There's two absolute definite camps. One is just remove the emulsion, and the other is remove ink and emulsion. So if you were to fill your dip tank with just emulsion remover, which is cheaper and more sustainable, then you have the added task of having to remove all the ink yourself. Scrub it, clean it, wash it, dry it.
Is it not, though? Is it not the case of it? When you get these combos, these 2-in-1s, it's a case of they're not as good at doing each job as if you just got a dedicated. So, like, maybe it's not quite as good at stripping emulsion as if you just get a pure emulsion stripper.
100%, yeah, because they fight each other. The two chemicals fight against each other, and on the 2-in-1s, they're made of a suspension of both, and they do work. And I was surprised when they worked. I do have my favourite. My favourite's a CPS, which is now Alchemy product, which was Aqua Strip 21, I think it was, or Aqua Wash 21, Aqua Strip 21.
Yeah, from these, I think.
From Pyramid, definitely, yeah. And I loved that. I loved to put that in a dip tank because that did eat away a lot of the ink. Did it take it all off? No. But it had enough strength in the emulsion remover to get rid of that, and it had enough strength in the ink to at least soften the ink, which was then blown away when my jet wash came out. And jet wash? Okay. What do you use for jet wash?
What product? What, like...
Yeah.
I use it's like just a Makita power wash. I had now, you advised me on is it metal cylinder, something or another, and I had one in my shopping basket for ages. And when I came to buy it, actually about 6 months ago, and it had gone. It was about 500 quid, and it had gone.
600 quid. You should be paying about 600
500 or 600 quid, or something like that.
But not paying 500 or 600 quid for a Karcher.
No.
Other brands are available because of the plastic cylinders. I didn't realise we had that conversation. Do I drink a lot when we do these podcasts? No, we not. No, this was me and V on Instagram conversation. I don't think we've had it on here. Right, okay. All right, okay.
Yeah, well, I always had the disposal. I'm going to are literally disposable because I always set the fuckers on fire. The disposable Karchers.
You burn them out because they're not made for continuous
literally
use. They've got little plastic cylinders inside, which they get warm, they get warped, and they break.
Yeah.
And the only solution, I started with a 30 quidder from B&Q. That broke after 3 months. So then I did the maths and went, all right, if I buy one every 3 months, still only 120 quid a year.
Yeah.
The Karcher's 200 quid. I'll just keep buying the cheap ones and break. I don't mind breaking them if they're cheap, but I don't want to break a 250 quid one.
No.
So I went through this process, and it always broke at the worst time.
Yeah.
It always broke when B&Q was shut.
It fucking does.
And it was always when I had to get a job out. So eventually I bit the bullet and bought the 120 quid one, Karcher, and went through the whole process.
Same thing.
This one got me 4.5 to 5 months.
Yeah.
And I thought, and then it broke. And now I'm annoyed because the other one was only 30 quid, so I didn't mind buying that, but I don't want to pay 120 quid
every time,
twice a year, because now I'm up to 240 quid for the year. And then I bit the bullet and I bought the 250 quid one. I thought, right, this fucker's not going to break 250 quid. This is a proper Karcher. This one's like big as me. And other than the owner of the company pinching it every weekend to do his patio at home, other than that, you come in Monday morning, it's like, where's it gone? Where's the pressure washer? Oh, it's at my house. You should see me drive. It's lovely. Did you bring it back with you? No, I'll bring it tomorrow. Did you not think we use it? You don't use it every day, do you?
All day.
Anyway, I digress.
But those fuckers, the super expensive ones, that one died. I did the exact same as what you've just described. The bloody most expensive one, quickest to die. I think I got about a week out of that bugger.
they die really quickly, and then you're really disappointed when that dies. The metal pump. So there's just no singing, no dancing, no plastic parts or anything, just a metal pump.
Yeah.
I paid 600 quid for one from some, I think it was called like Northern Pump Distributors or something. This guy I'd never heard of ever before. And I told him what I want, and he went, yeah, you want one of these? And he went into a bag of van. Yeah. What do I do with this? Right, stick it on the wall. He says, top tip, never run it with the water off. Why? What happens? So we've got a metal cylinder, but it's surrounded by porcelain to stop the heat.
Yeah.
And if you run it dry, eventually the porcelain will crack and it'll break. So I can come and repair it for you, but I'd rather not. So, just make sure the water's always on before you use it. Okay? I would say that is 2005. And I'm willing to bet that pump is still working going in that factory.
That's a very cheap investment.
600 quid, 600 quid, but it's lasted me 15 years, yeah. So I'm willing to guess it's still going. And when I go over to the States, nobody's got a Karcher. They've all got proper pumps.
Yeah, proper pumps.
Because why would you buy a Karcher for this job? Yeah, it's just us that try and get it from works.
I'm going to go out on a limb and make a bold statement and say that is probably the most cost-effective investment you can make in a print shop. 600 quid. There's nothing you can pay that little that'll give you the same amount of value back and last that long.
Yeah. So on the suppliers, the US suppliers where you buy your ink from and all your crap and your squeegees and your mesh and your silicone spray to get you out of a hole. When you buy all that from, they'll also sell. Every one of them in America will also sell a pump, a version of a pump with a wand, with a jet wash.
So right this very second, I've had that in my basket. So the conversation came about because I blew up about my 50,000th Karcher. I'd gone up to Argos, got myself a cheap Makita, exactly the same as Karcher, it's just a Makita brand. And I mentioned to you, I'm sick to piss of blowing them up every Christmas or every 6 months or whatever. And then I put one in my basket and I never ended up buying it. That Makita's actually done all right. But as soon as that goes, I'm getting a pump. I'm spending it on a proper pump, and that'll last me forever.
Get a pump and mount it on wall. Most people mount it on wall to keep it out at crap.
So you can mount it on a wall. I can't picture that.
It's mounted on a wall, and then it's there ready, and you're not going up and down all the time.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, most of them work really well. I'm a big believer in them.
Yeah. And how does it just plugs in? You don't need any compressor or anything like that?
It's just a 13 amp plug. Obviously, with it being water, it's advisable to have an RCD on it, a circuit breaker. But other than that, it's just a 13 amp plug. Just a pump. But it's a good pump rather than a cheap one.
We all love a good pump. Right.
You almost couldn't keep that in, could you?
Oh, dear me. Right then, Tony. What's your next project? Are you going back to... Did you say where you've been? Did I ask?
No.
Did I even ask?
No, we just disappeared on it. We digressed.
Where you been, Tony?
Tangent. That was in Northampton.
All right.
So that was one day. I've actually been to another shop afterwards then as well.
Oh, have you? You've been two this week?
So I've done 2 jobs this week, yeah. So I've done no jobs for a month and then 2 in 1 week. So the next job I went to, again, contacted from word of mouth and Instagram and stuff. So really good. It does work. If you know anybody, tell them I'm good. And this was a place where we have the owners told me about the problem, and the problem is really skill dilution. It's purely and simple. One guy has run it as his own place for 15, 20 years. He's gone, and now nobody knows what anything does because he used to keep everything secret. So I'm always concerned about when I go to these sort of shops because of the pushback, the reluctance of, what the fucking hell do you think you are?
Telling us how to do this.
What to do.
We've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah, so I'm always a bit reluctant. As it turned out, absolute superb. I love it when I go to a place and I get engagement out of the staff.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a 2-day visit, which was supposed to be a day of assessment. And then a day of training where we do some theory and we'll really look into stuff and start applying stuff. After the first sort of 2-3 hours of doing the assessment, I'm like, right, okay, put everything down. Stop. Let's start again. Get me a piece of paper. And I end up with a big piece of cardboard and a Sharpie. And I'm writing on the wall. Everywhere I go, I write on the wall. And that's what I ended up doing. Writing on the wall the basics of screen print. And it was like somebody had turned a light on with these guys.
So
they were all like,
went back to basics.
Wow, really? Wow, really? Wow, really? Yeah, let's have a look at your squeegees. So when was the last time these were replaced? Well, they've never been replaced while I've been here. Well, how long have you been here? 7 years. Okay, let's get some squeegees. What mesh counts have we got? Well, whatever he tells us to put it on. We don't know why he puts them on them. He just puts them on them.
God.
Right, okay, well, I can tell you right now that this job, the way it's been set up and the mesh counts and the blades and everything else and the colour order, I couldn't make it look nice. There's nothing I can do to make this job look nice in the current format. So let's take this job, let's reset it, let's remake everything on how it should be and run it again. And we ran it again and it was good. And the guys were like, we've been doing it wrong all this time, haven't we? I said, you can't get caught up on that. Because it's too easy to get caught up on we're shit, aren't we? Well, we've been doing it wrong, we're shit. No. All we got to look at now is what we have the information on how to do it correctly. Let's go forward and run with it. And from my point of view, the kickback, the feedback, the encouragement I get is they all wanted to learn. And once they could see it working, they wanted to learn so much. I mean, we covered shitloads of stuff. I mean, everything. But in the end, we ended up doing a job that's been done before. But because we'd done it properly, you could see the gutters in between the text, between the red and the white on this job, on this shield. And because you could see the gutters, now everybody were getting involved and going, customers are not going to like them. And I'm like, well, this is how it should look. Yeah, but it's never looked like that. No, but it were all smudgy before. The customers had it smudgy. Now we've changed it. At some point, we've got to, bite the bullet and go, this is how it should look. Crisp, clean edges and just a slither of a gutter in between. And knowing that width of that gutter to use, that's the skill. So, I think they had the gutter at 0.75 point, which would basically, you could drive a double-decker bus down. and we want it down at about 0.35, something like that, depending on your skill level. They had very old machines. They had one of the old M&R Premiers, and it was serial number 001.
This is a one that is probably older than me. Old press.
I don't know. So I'm familiar with M&R. I've known M&R from late 80s, early 90s. And I know the names. Now, the M&Rs named their machines. I swear they were all after Arnold Schwarzenegger films.
Were they?
There was a dryer called the Terminator.
Well, must have been a fan.
The Destroyer, the Predator. These are real names for M&R machines.
Bloody hell.
They had a triple belt machine.
Yeah.
Right, so a triple belt dryer.
Yeah.
So it went up one side, dropped inside, came back, and came back. So it was a 10-foot footprint, but it was a 30-foot belt.
Yeah.
So you got a really good drying time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was called the Terminator. before the Arnie films came out.
Bloody hell.
And I'm like, and then they had another machine. I'm sure they called it a Predator. I think that was the belt printer was called a Predator.
Bloody hell. So
yeah, they were all named by somebody that wasn't quite as secure in the masculinity as they should be. Sorry, M&R.
I'm just
I don't think they'll be
waiting for
listening.
M&R Big Schlong to come out.
Buy the big schlong. Increase your production rate.
Cures at a fraction of the time. Finished in 3 seconds.
Stop it now. So, yeah, that was fun seeing a good old machine. So the Premier, I've not heard of that name before. Challengers, Gauntlets, Sportsmans, I knew all those, and they've been around for a while, and they've stayed around for a while. So I think somebody else has taken over M&R that's not got a sort of a testosterone deficiency like the other guy. He just needs to name everything really badly. And we've got some normal names, and they've been stable. And the Premier's one I've not really heard of, and I think it was labelled as full digital. And it basically had a Casio calculator stapled.
Right.
It still had the toggle switches on, which they all have, but it got like a little, not colour, just an LCD display.
Right. And what was that
with
for?
4 buttons on it. It had revolver mode on it.
Right.
But it took me a long time to find, which lets you go around and activate certain things. And it were all fully programmable as to when you put the flash and how long you put the flash. You needed a degree in physics and chemistry to be able to understand what this display did. But they actually had the instruction booklet.
Oh, bloody hell.
They had the manual, the full manual that it came with.
All right.
So I sat and read that, and we programmed it to do revolver mode, and it worked out really well. And at the other end of the factory, they've got an MHM, which they've had for 5 years, which they all spat when they said the name.
Really?
The MHM.
Wow.
You like the M&R? Oh, I love the M&R. The MHM. Shit.
Wow.
What?
Close your ears, John. You don't need to hear it.
Yeah. I'm like, well, why? Oh, it's crap. It won't print. It's out of reg. It won't print. It can't push white through as mesh.
What?
Now, between the two machines, the M&R is absolutely all full of muscle and power, and it's got the ability to bend a squeegee in half. Always has. Nothing can come close to it, which is why all their prints were smudgy. But and the MHM's a little bit more finesse. You need a little bit more skill behind it to know which mesh counts to use, which blades to use to get it right, to get it to work. If you're trying to push white through a 90 with a soft blade, it's not going to work. It's not the press.
No, definitely not. No.
So I said, look, let's concentrate on the M&R. Let's do what we're doing. Is this a question you asked me, or have I gone off?
Can't remember, honestly. Can't remember, but I'm enjoying it. You crack on.
So I obviously I love my MHMs, and it's not an uninformed opinion.
No.
I've worked on the Challengers, the Sportsmans, the Gauntlets for a long time before I moved on to MHMs, and that's why I see the advantages from an operator. I couldn't give a monkeys about the owners.
No.
From me actually physically putting my hands in this machine every day, the MHM made my life easier, which is why I love them.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get this point across to them. I'm like, well, do you not find the MHM easier to set up? No. Well, with the stud system and everything, everything's registered. Yeah, we took those off. We took the studs off all the screens. Yeah. All right. So do you find your screens in the dip tank and now letting in water? Yeah, so we've drilled holes in them all. A really, really sort of short stories. I did that once.
Did you? Really?
Yeah.
You cheating bastard.
When I first bought a dip tank, when I looked at their screens and I laughed to myself because
you've done the same thing.
It's an error. It's a mistake, and I don't advise doing it. The correct solution was highlighted to me by Merchops, which is a superb solution.
Good old Bryce.
Which was marine sealant underneath the little studs.
Yeah.
Oh, the MHMs have got these cups on. It's a registration system, and you have to screw them in. Little self tapper. Do it once. That's it. Forget about it.
Mm.
Well, they didn't think that the screens would then fit in the M&R, so they took them off every time they put the M&R.
All right,
So straight away, there's no studs on, but there's a hole tiny little holes in the
gonna let
screens.
water in.
So when they put them in the dip tank, it goes boop, 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 and all the water goes into
At least
the
you don't
screen.
have to put a bucket on top to hold them down.
No. So then all the screens frames, because it's just hollow tubing, are full of water.
Yeah.
So they lift them out, and because the holes are tiny, it takes about
forever
20 minutes to drain.
Yeah.
So I had this problem once, and my solution was drill a hole in the bottom corner. So I did. I drilled a 4mm hole in the bottom corner, thinking I were really clever. Lifted it out of the dip tank, and it went bloop, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, because of the air. Right.
Because there's no air. Okay, so the solution is drill another hole in the opposite corner.
Like a
So I
cheese.
drilled another hole in the opposite corner. It's a 4mm hole. It's now taking about 8 minutes 20 instead of 20. So I'm on a winner. So then, and I saw this same pattern, the pattern of 3 holes and the hole in the centre, and they all complained that it works. All the water comes out, but it pisses all over you.
Yeah.
The screen up.
Yeah, and if you're using it if you're using dip tank chemical, that's expensive. You're going to be losing a lot of chemicals, surely.
Well, no, they hold it over the dip tank to drink back into the dip tank.
Yeah, but you've got soft emulsion that's dripping,
Yeah,
which is diluting it.
It's a solution I thought of about 20 years ago, and I thought we're being clever, and that's when I realised, oh shit, this is not the best solution. The best solution would have been to seal the little holes, because there's not a lot of water. If the self-tapper goes in tight, you don't even need to put silicone in.
No.
It's only if the self-tapper goes in and it's loose that you need to actually just put a blob, just a tiny blob of silicone. Any bathroom silicone will do it. You don't have to go marine sealant. And when you put everything in, done. Even, I'll tell you what's really good, Gorilla Glue.
Oh, yeah.
Because it expands a little bit.
Yeah. It's worth just doing it anyway, isn't it, surely? It's worth just doing it with every stuff.
It is.
Just to be on the safe side.
It is. And then you don't need to worry about your screens getting water in because they're actually watertight. But anyway, when I saw all that, I was like, oh shit. They're on the scale of where they are, they're about 1985 to 1990. That's about where they're at. They were using Cericol inks, again, late 80s, early 90s, with a fixed scale. They're using the M&R presses, again, they really peaked mid-90s.
Yeah.
M&R have started to bring some new presses out. The Cobra is an update of the Challenger and all those, and it is actually quite, it's all right.
There's one coming out, it's like 16 heads or something. There's like a brand, I'm sure there's a new Cobra or something.
It's a Cobra, yeah. They made it faster for some reason. It's still faster than Loader, so there's no point.
Sells it though, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, trying to drag them back up at least a decade, it's a massive culture shock to do it all in one go. So there's a lot of work to be done. But like I said, the really positive thing is they're all on board. They all want to change. They all want to get better. They've seen these prints get better and go, yep, we want to do it like that now. Even though we did started a job and the guy from Artwork came down and went, what's that gutter? Don't like that. Why can't I see it? Well, you can see it because it's like the size of a double-decker bus, but you put it in.
Yeah.
And we don't normally see it. No, because you're normally using a blade bent over double like that through the wrong mesh in the wrong colour order, wet on wet. So that's why you don't normally see it. Anyway, it's an ongoing. I think it's an ongoing job. I'll probably keep going back there.
Yeah, again,
to help them grow a little bit now. Now that the restriction of the old print manager's gone, it's been lifted. They're open to do a few more different things.
Was that a polite way of saying he's been sacked?
He's moved on to other opportunities.
we found a suitable place for him in the washroom.
Yeah.
You see, so this you're gonna have to remind me now. The M&R's got like so you put the studs on them and you have the jig with the lasers for film positives, lining your film positives up. What's it called again?
MHM.
Sorry, MHM.
That's the MHM. That's what I meant. It's called the FPU, Film Positioning
Film
Unit.
Positioning Unit, that's what I'm thinking. I was looking at that on YouTube the other day, and I was thinking, wonder if I could make that work on a manual. Now I know you have studs.
I was thinking exactly the same. Exactly.
And when
the
you
same.
think about
and
it,
I think you can.
I think if you can get something to position on the back bar that the cups sit into.
No, you just drill holes in your back bar
and use like a stud rather than a cup.
So that the cup then becomes a stud.
Oh, so you mean like a what we call like an inch hole or something? It just sits in it.
I think the studs are something like 11 mil across. So you just do a 12 mil hole, and you're already within a mil.
I don't think they're that expensive either than position units.
Well, they're $3,000 brand new.
To find somebody who's got one used there. Give that a go. That might be a good little...
I do know someone who's got one used. We'll talk after.
Honestly, I was looking at YouTube and I thought, I can make that work on a manual. I'm sure I can. And because it's...
Yeah, and I was thinking exactly the same. But the problem you've got is it's designed to be held from
both sides. Yeah, well, I thought that.
And you're only holding from the back, so you will have some movement.
But
they had tri-lock. They had tri-lock at this place.
I've heard conflicting opinions, and I feel like some people buy it. I feel like a lot of people buy it and go, it sort of sits there getting dusty. And I don't know if it's a case of user error, lack of skill. I mean, but even to the point where the sanding, loose bits of tape off the screens and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot to get it to work. But that might just be bad. Now, you know what? I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to be honest. It's what I've seen on YouTube. I've seen one of the YouTubers.
I thought you were going to quote me. I were a bit worried.
No. I've seen one of those, those screen print YouTubers who have been screen printing for about 6 years. And
they're automatically an expert guru consultant.
And they're now offering consultant fees and stuff like that.
Yeah. They annoy me quite a bit. How about you, Danny? How do you feel about them?
I love them. But anyway, I saw one of them had got one at some point.
I've got a cruiser. I'm going to be a consultant. You've got a what? A 4-colour cruiser. And now I'm a screen printing expert. I print everything from water-based to plastisol on my cruiser. So how about you pay me to come and tell you what to do on your automatic?
Well,
how about you fuck right off?
You hammered that one down a bit, didn't you? Jeez. That won't take much guessing.
Just for you.
Yeah, well...
It's going to become my catchphrase, but you've only got a cruiser.
I'm making them T-shirts next week, fuck it. God. Right, so I've got a question for you, Tony.
Have we finished? Have we done?
No, we can squeeze 10 minutes out, can't we?
Go on. No, I think we've just gone off on the tangent, but it's not.
Oh, have we not finished our conversation? What was it saying? I feel like we have.
I think you were on about.
I can't really elaborate much more. Really, we'll see if we can.
You've been watching Trilock.
Oh, the Trilocks. That's it. Sorry, yeah, I thought we were still talking about the MHM one. Yeah, the Trilock. Yeah, just a few screen print YouTubers who have ended up buying these Trilocks have done a couple of videos and said, "Oh, look, I've got this. It's going to be amazing." And then they're like, "Oh, I can't quite get it to work. Oh yeah, I've never seen them use it again." So is that user skill, or is it just not the ideal solution?
It's a little bit of both. So if I was to take a really broad snapshot, and bear in mind, I am biased. Do you know what I mean? I do like MHMs.
Yeah.
I don't dislike M&R. That's not the case here. I just prefer MHM.
Oh, hang on. I've got to show you something. It's fucking fantastic. John Potter sent me this.
Oh, God.
This is fantastic, Tony.
Is this safe for broadcast?
No. So, you might have seen it.
Probably.
I mean, I assume it's John who runs the MHM, unless it's one of its sons.
Yeah.
Or is it John?
Yeah.
He has got sons,
if it's offensive, it's John.
All right, then, yeah. Do I put this on? I'm going to put it on. Can you hear it?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Ready?
Is that just a scooter? Yeah. I want to fucking fight. Are you serious? Me Christmas stuff.
So I replied, John said that to me, so I replied, is that a fucking rock? I wanted an MHM. Anyway, it's all bands. I'm not against rock. I was just
Okay.
using it as a bands. It was funny.
No, he sent that to me as well.
Yeah. Well, he said it was you. He said, "Here's Tony at Christmas."
No, never liked him.
So we were saying something anyway. I thought knows what.
The Tri-Lock.
That's it. Sorry.
So if I would take a snapshot of the Tri-Lock system, out of all the people that use it, I can hand on heart say there's only one company that use it exceptionally well out of all the ones I see. A lot of printers believe they are better than and faster than a Tri-Lock. And I'll tell you why. There's a really good reason. It can work 99 times out of 100. And the printer will go, because this is what we are printers, you know, and we will say, oh, this Tri-Lock system's awesome. I haven't set a job up in last 99 jobs. I haven't set one single job up. They've all been bob on, all within a cat's cock hair of each other. How careful then.
Yeah.
All within a whisker of each other. Absolutely perfect. Love this Tri-Lock. It's great. Then one time it doesn't work. I'm never using that again. Cost me an hour, that thing. I've just been chasing this job in. Never trust it again. It's that sort of pile of shit. Put it on the end of dryer and leave it there to gather dust. So they don't look back and investigate. Why didn't it work? Oh, well, we got Joey from Screen Room. He's actually been smoking weed all weekend. And when he's coming this morning, his eyes are like that. He's got one eye out window and one eye out door. So, you know, couple of screens that he's made haven't been right, bob on. And nobody looks back there. They go, Tri-Lock system, broken, don't work.
Yeah, well.
And now, again, why don't I like the Tri-Lock system? Because it uses parts that can change.
Yeah.
So this place where I was, they were setting up with a hammer.
All right.
Okay, still setting up with a precision adjustment tool, a hammer. Half a tap here, half a tap there. Well, they're hitting it where the Tri-Lock goes.
Oh,
So they're creating a variable right where the Tri-Lock goes. And so therefore, you know, they're not going to get perfect results. And as soon as you get two imperfect results in a row, you blame the system. And you go, the system's broken, I'm never using it again. I'm faster, I'm quicker, I'm better than the system. And that's where we were at this place. But nobody told the screen guy. So the screen guy, to use Tri-Lock properly, the old system, to really use it properly, you have to mount your films on a foil. Oh, Vastex, remember?
Ooh, bloody carrier sheets.
With the carrier sheets with the pins.
What it been? Yeah.
So they've got the full setup with the carrier sheets and the pins, and somebody sits there and mounts all the films onto carrier sheets with precision. Well, still got human error in there.
That's what this is the whole argument with fucking carrier sheets. It's just as much human error as anything else, so it's pointless.
Yeah, exactly the same. So you've got, and the guy was 79. He's retired 4 times and he keeps coming back because he loves it. He's been printing
what a guy.
Since he told me when he'd been printing since, I think he said 1958 or 1959 he's been printing since.
That'd be chuffing me.
And he don't look a day over 60. I mean, the information that were in his head, but nobody listened to him.
Stupid.
Nobody listened to him, but he got so much information in his head. I'd love to have just sat down and spoke about printing with him for hours. Yeah. And they were using the Tri-Lock system, and he was mounting the films. Now, he's from an old school, so he is taking care mounting these films. But then they go out on press, and nobody uses the Tri-Lock because it once didn't work.
Yeah.
And they're back hammering and hammering and hammering. And we were at 2.5 hours set up for a fork on the job. It's like, you've got Tri-Lock, you've actually got it, and it's been used all the way through the process, and then it gets to press and nobody uses it. Why? Because it once didn't work. Right, okay, well, when we go over to the MHM, that's got, its own version of Tri-Lock, which is a bit more accurate because it's using constant 420mm spaced cups that don't change.
You're not
so
pushing into corners.
System,
it's based on studs.
I says, and what I can do is I can have a look and maybe get you an FPU from somewhere. A what? An FPU, it's got the cups on, so we got the laser lights so we can line it. Oh, we got one of them in container.
Oh, God.
We've got one of them in container.
Didn't
Yeah,
use it.
we never use it. Oh, for Christ's sake.
I was under the
So-
impression you almost had to use one with an MHM. You'd never not see an MHM. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but I've never not known an MHM printer not use them.
So they use the Trilock. But there isn't a Trilock palette for an
I'm
MHM.
going to say you're back to like combining different brands, systems, and that's not ideal, is it?
So out of the two brands and systems that they had, they picked the worst and then ditched it altogether because it didn't work.
Oh. Get the old MHM back on job. MHM with an MHM machine. Makes sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, and what I said was, look, you can actually go the other way with this. You've picked the worst system, the Trilock, which requires you to mount on carrier films. Then there's a chance it doesn't work, and then you've got all sorts of issues, and then you can't transfer that to your MHM, which, in my opinion, is your better machine. All right, well, okay, well, what would you suggest? Well, I would suggest ditching the Trilock altogether and going to the FPU and making that the standard, because you're going to set up by eye anyway on the M&R, so there's no point wasting time mounting these films. You might as well just use the FPU and mount and go as you go.
Yeah.
Then you can put all the studs back on, because they're taking all the studs off. Yeah. So I'm like, why do you take the studs off? Because they won't fit in the press. Yes, they will look like this. Oh, I didn't know that. So before I go, I want to have a look at this MHM. I want to see why you think it's shit. Because it might be broken. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, well, it won't print white. It absolutely won't print white. It's crap. Won't print white. It's crap. Scrap. Okay. So I go over and have a look. So show me what it won't print. Well, it won't put white through this 90 that we've got with this 55 squeegee that we've got. Well, that's why. Well, we can print it on the M&R. Yeah, but it looks like you've used your toes to print it with.
Yeah.
So, again, back to do a little bit of education. I looked at the head, and the head has an air pressure valve on it.
Yeah.
So, like 6 bar comes out of the compressor.
They maxed it out.
And we can. No, they turned it down to 3, and nobody had told me.
Oh, right.
So it was on half pressure. So it had the muscular power of a 6-year-old girl. So it was never going to push this white, sticky polyester white through a high mesh count.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it just wasn't working, and they believed the machine was shit. Well, actually, no, it wasn't the machine that was shit. It was a mixture of everything. So we did a little bit of jiggling about, and we did some leveling. Plus, the pallets weren't all in right.
Right, so they won't level.
So I measured the pallets, and some were like that, and some were like that. And I thought, oh shit, I'm going to have to get a technician down here to check these, because it's very rare that they go out that far. And then I'm looking; they hadn't actually put the pallets in properly. They weren't located in properly. They hadn't fastened them down.
Oh, okay, no. I once did that with what did I do it on? It'll be my workhorse. I didn't know what I was doing. I had to build when I got my workhorse off. Anyway, when I got my workhorse,
Where did you buy a workhorse?
I was
in the UK.
It was Screen Print World. Dave.
Oh, what did they sell in workhorse?
Oh no, like it was used. It was used workhorse.
Oh, right, okay.
And I built it on.
They're quite big in America.
Do you know what? It was a tank of a press. I just didn't know what I was doing.
They do
a bit wonky.
They do an auto.
Yeah, and a lot of people sort of seem to turn their nose up at it, but then the people who've actually got them seem to be quite chuffed to bits with it. I couldn't. I mean, it goes back to you put an auto in my shop, I'll be chuffed to bits, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure I will.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Listen, I went into a shop and there were an old Browns,
Yeah,
which I've
Browns.
almost never heard of, and it was all electric. I think it was all electric. So,
Well, that's the new fashion.
No,
Isn't it? That's coming back. Which seems dangerous to
is
me.
it? I don't know.
Well, one of the Browns
when
is doing
the
it anyway.
squeegee goes like that, and normally it's air pressure pushing down and pulling back.
Yeah.
I've worked on hydraulic machines, but again, it's usually a belt or a chain, and it's usually solid. This one actually had an electric motor pushing an arm forwards and backwards, and the arm made it do this.
All right.
And I thought to myself, there's actually zero pushback on that. So with air, we can squash air.
Yeah.
So if you fill a cylinder up with air and you put it onto something, and then there's any
can force
pushback,
it a
there's
bit
a
more.
chance you can squash the air a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got an electric motor pushing around, there's no movement.
know
in
where that would
and
go.
it's solid. Yeah. So I quite like that idea. I mean, it was older than me, so
So you don't think the old electric presses is going to take on because I know one brand who's pushing an all-electric press.
Is it the same as what you've got over there?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
So Anatole Volt has been around for a long time, and it is an Anatole Volt.
Oh, I thought, yeah, it is. But I didn't realise. I thought it was fairly new.
No, it's been around for a long time. I would say that that's one of their selling points for a long time. It's one of the only all electric presses out there. Yeah. But I've heard a rumour that one of the big manufacturers,
doing another.
One of the manufacturers that we've been speaking about, that like to name everything after testicles, he's bringing out an all electric press.
Wow! So. Maybe
and I think that's due to the demand that's been created from the Anatole Volt. They've looked at that and gone, whoa, if they're selling a lot of them, let's have a piece of that pie.
So what is the advantage? As an end user, why would you buy an electric press and go, we need more of these? What compared to an air compressor press, what's like, is it the system that you're talking about where it's rods and stuff like that, or is it more cost efficiency?
There's a little bit of that. No, there's a little bit of that. Not squashing an air cylinder.
So there's less play.
But, it's not really that big a problem, but it could theoretically be. And I think energy costs.
Because to me, it seems slightly backwards and counterintuitive. Energy bills and the cost of electric's going crazy high. So to me, it seems a bit counterintuitive to then go buy an all electric.
Do you have a compressor?
I used to have, but not only for the. Well, I'll tell you what I used to use it for. I used to have a compressor to, when you wash out your screens, I used to blast out the air.
Them out.
And I learned that was a bad idea because eventually these compressors, unless it's got a chiller attached to it,
let out water and oil.
Yeah. So that was introducing grease to my screens, which it worked well.
So that's your average sort of garage compressor.
Yeah.
Let's say under 500.
Yeah.
So the normal compressor that runs in a shop is upwards of £7,000. You will probably won't find one for less than £7,000. No. And they are probably 7.5 kilowatts, so the 3-phase.
Right.
And they eat electricity.
Oh, do they?
Kilowatts. So your kettle is, let's say, 2.5 kilowatts. And it goes on for 3 minutes, and you can see that it costs you more than it does that. Yeah. So imagine a kettle, 3 kettles, constantly
all
on
day,
9 hours a day.
Bloody hell. That's going to cost some.
So the cost of running a compressor is quite high. Now, the compressor's running usually when nothing else is running. Now they've all got a pressure cut-off, but every shop I go in's got an air leak somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't fix your air leaks, that's the equivalent of boiling the kettle and pouring the water down the drink.
Yeah.
Then boiling the kettle, then pouring the water down the sink, boiling the kettle, and just doing that all day long. So if you don't fix those, then you've got a really expensive piece of equipment that's running all the time. If you could cleverly market a all-electric press, you would say it's only ever running when you need it.
Right.
It's never running idle. If you're printing, it's on, and if you're not printing, it's off. You could say that if you're using renewable energy, then that's where it uses just pure renewable energy, which you could say solar panels and batteries could power your machine for free almost.
Could it though? Could you do that with solar panels?
Well, yeah, because you're not going to be pulling 7.5 kilowatts out of it all day long like you are a compressor. You're going to be pulling sort of like less than 3,000 watts out just to move a motor, that's all.
I don't know how much solar panels are, but not a bad investment, maybe? Or is it just clever marketing, like you say?
I think it's just clever marketing at the moment.
Potentially.
But as batteries improve and as everything else like that comes along, then maybe it's a better option. Certainly if you want, I told you before, I go to a company that markets themselves as renewable energy because they have electric everything. And actually, truth be told, they're getting their electric from the coal-fired power station down the road.
Isn't it ironic?
It is, but from a marketing point of view, they're allowed to put that all of their power, all of their consumption is renewable. None of it's a fossil fuel that's getting used.
Yeah, the old smoke and mirrors. We've done this conversation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, Tony, I can see you've got an images magazine in the background. Have you got an article
Have you noticed
coming
those
up?
images? I've got an article every week, every month in Images magazine. I don't know if you've noticed or not.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I like to contribute to the industry, you see, so I don't mind.
Listen, I told you I'm going to make a
article.
difference in this industry. I am going to be fucking famous.
You're not getting my spot in Images.
No, I'm all right. Can't wait.
I do a feature every month called Ask Tony.
Yep.
And I've just run another sort of email shot across the industry again. I need some questions.
That's where I was going with it.
I've just. Have you sent one in? No, don't. No.
I'll ask you now if you like.
No.
Are you a scruncher or a folder? It's an important question. Tell a lot about a bloke.
A scruncher?
Yeah, you know when you go to the toilet? Do you fold it over or do you scrunch it up?
I'm a folder.
Are you actually?
I can't believe you asked me.
It's a bit OCD, that, isn't it? Jeez. Have you been at military before or something?
Where do you Google these questions?
I don't know. I just had to ask something silly on the spot, and that's just all.
I only had one, right? Running on from your shower one, do you stand facing the shower or away from it?
Oh, facing it.
You weirdo.
Really? Is that a thing?
Absolutely.
I turn the fuck on full
I think
blast as well.
It's a male and female thing. You find females face it and males face away from it.
Really? Oh, that doesn't say a lot about me, does it?
Google it.
That's
Google
brilliant.
it.
I'll have to Google that.
Do it. Google it.
And it's adjustable as well, so you can have like spray. I have to turn it on like full on. If I could attach a power wash to my ceiling, I would.
Is it on 150 degrees as well?
No,
Because on our house, it's just slightly under the temperature of Satan's ball sack.
women are weird.
That's about how
Listen,
hot it normally.
That's your wife's
You've got
fault.
no skin left.
I'm telling you.
What are you doing? You've got no skin
Why
left.
do they do that? Women have got different skin
don't know.
to blokes. I swear to fuck. I swear to
don't know.
asbestos skin. Something about it.
I don't know. It's not right, is it?
No. You're getting. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, yeah. So
There's not many other places you can get this sort of information on a screen print podcast, is
quality viewing. There's quality
there? It's
viewing.
unique.
It's very fucking niche. Let's call it that. You've even got drug paraphernalia in background. You've not spotted it, have you?
I have, yeah. That's for flowers.
Oh, that's for flowers. Poppies.
Yeah. What do you look at? You didn't see my shoe opener, did you?
Shoe opener?
Me bottle opener and shoe horn,
All right.
shaped like a black cat, hung on a dog's ass.
Oh, for God's sake. How very novel of you. How very novel.
Come from my grandma years and years and years ago. Made of brass.
I like it. It's cool. Oh, God, you have to see my mum and dad's house. The house is basically made of brass. It's just full of these weird brass ornaments everywhere.
My grandparents had a pub, so
Yeah.
horse brasses.
Yeah, the horseshoes.
Horse brasses were in horse brasses were in the pubs all the time.
Probably got 100 of the fuckers.
There were a woman, a little Maureen, came round every Saturday morning and all she did
Polish them.
was the
Get
fuckers.
Brasso out. It was a lovely
Brasso
smell, though,
out,
wasn't it?
I still love smelling brass.
I always wanted to nick, you know, when you go to old pubs, you don't often see them now. You go to old pubs and they've got the brass tables that's been hammered. It's got that hammered.
Yeah.
I always want to nick one of them. I've loved one of them.
Copper, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
copper,
copper,
but it's been hammered,
yeah.
yeah.
I like to nick one of them. Anyway, I feel like we've had a good episode. I've got a few left on my list.
I think so.
But let's save it for I do one. We've done hour and a half.
What list? We don't have lists.
My mental list. Oh, no.
All right, your
One
mental
more.
list.
Are you
All
happy
right.
with one more?
Mental list. Yeah, go for it.
I did tell you about my New Year's resolutions, didn't I? There we go. Book number 1.
Start with why.
Start with why. Simon Sinek. Now then, you remember I said I went on that Australian podcast? He recommended it.
Yeah.
Recommended it.
All right, okay.
So I picked it up. Got to try and learn how to read it, I guess.
What's it? Without getting a sore finger.
Now I get a sore finger. Actually,
What's
but honestly though,
what's it about?
I don't know. But honestly though, I do find this I can't really do it to camera. This process, holding a book with your thumbs for a prolonged period of time, my thumbs hurt. Do you not get that? I get achy thumbs.
No, I don't get that at all.
Oh, it's about how great leaders inspire everyone to take action, and I think it stemmed from a conversation that me and Sam had was about. He feels that I should be really paying a little bit more attention and putting more effort into telling my brand story, which essentially is, you know, how Flippy Sweet got started and stuff like that, and where I am and where I'm based, and he just said this will sort of get me thinking along them lines a little bit. And
Do you think it's bullshit?
do I think it's bullshit?
Yeah.
What, telling me brand and stuff like that?
Books like that you've got some complete stranger telling you that you should be thinking differently.
No,
Or am I just an old cynic?
I think. I tell you when I've read it, to be honest, because if I read it and it's full of shit.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
You.
Yeah.
But you should always learn from other people, and I guess I'll read it. I'll tell you.
Let me know. Let me know how it goes.
Hopefully, it's a fruitful endeavour.
I've never read one. I tell a lie. I have read one. It was a Alan Carr Easy Way to Stop Smoking.
And did it?
Not Alan Carr. Not Chatty Man.
Is it just like a person who knows how to stop smoking?
So yeah, this was what you might call a self-help book. So when I stopped smoking, I started reading this, and I read it. I started to read it, and I put it down because it was just like, I can't do this. So then I ended up getting it on my phone where I could read it properly. Yeah. And I got about a third away into the book, and it's marketed as the easy way to stop smoking. The secret. I'm going to tell you all the secrets. This is the easy way. Don't do it the hard way. This is the shortcut. This is the easy way. This is the cheat. You read my book and do this. So I'm a third of the way in, and it's not told me the way to stop smoking yet.
I mean, I'd be cynical of that. If this book said, read this book and it'll turn your business up, you know, transform your life, and you'll be an entrepreneur, you'll be the next Jeff Bezos, whatever you call him, then now probably would have bought it. But I don't feel like this is what it's. I don't feel like it's selling me anything. In fact, it isn't. Yeah. It's not saying do this and you will become. It's saying how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. So I guess it's. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I
and did it change your life? Did you become? Did it help you?
So to this day, I can't tell you whether it was the tablets that I was signed up for or the book. I think a combination of both worked. Bear in mind, I've been smoking for 25 years. I was a proper die-hard smoker. But I got halfway through the book, and I put the book down. I went, this is brainwashing. This is complete and utter brainwashing. But now I know it's brainwashing, I'll continue reading it.
Yes, because you can be objectively
so
pull out the bits you need.
Because I knew it was brainwashing, and I knew it was all psychological repeat and then do again, then repeat, and I could see straight through it. But because I could see straight through it, I wanted to see it to the end. So, and I did see it through to the end. And at the end, there wasn't an easy way to stop smoking. But all the information that had been planted in my head for the whole entire book
contributed.
That was the easy way to stop smoking. It wasn't at the end where I thought, all right now find the magic button and press it. It wasn't that. But it was the leading up to it.
I can compare that to. So I read some books quite a few years ago, and it was from an author called. I can't remember what it's called, but it was Abraham Hicks, and it was your favourite topic, manifesting, essentially. And this whole book was.
Did you have a mood board on everything by the time you'd done?
No, actually, I did. I'm lying to you. I did make one at one point. But the whole book essentially was this woman was taking a voice from some sort of spirit who was passing down this knowledge to this woman on how to manifest and how to attract what you want in life, etc., etc. Now, I read this with an objective mindset, thinking, what a load of bollocks, but I'm going to read it and I'm going to take what lessons I need to learn, because there's a lot of psychological, there's a lot of, like manifesting in essence is thinking positively, but being proactive in manifesting what you want. If you just sit there looking at yourself in the mirror saying, I'm going to be a millionaire next week, well, not what's going to happen. But if you can really believe you're going to be a millionaire and you actively push yourself and work towards it and always stay positive and don't allow any negativity to push you off track, there's a chance you'll get there. And whether that's spiritual or if it's just subconscious or if it's just, pure action, it don't matter. The lessons can only do you good. You know what I mean? It can't hurt you to
be going in
to apply the lessons. You don't necessarily have to believe.
Yeah, you're absorbing that shit.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
You're falling for that bullshit.
So you can take a book that you think, well, you're selling me something, but I can be can be objective, and I can pick out what I need to learn, and I can apply those lessons.
Let me just write in my notes. Write a screen print book.
Good way to make money. And speaking of books, last show and tell. Yeah, we had 2 show and tells. You are lucky listeners. Listeners.
Go for it, yeah.
Hopefully you watch it because you can see it. Look at this shiny little new book. It's got cork and gold in it. You see, put your gigs on. See gold? Yeah. Cool, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And so what it is, first page, you have to ignore my really awful handwriting. I'm not much of a writer. Not much of a reader, writer. Episode 28, put my date. And you know what I'm going to put in there? I'm going to make some
what
notes.
We talked about.
Every episode, what I learned. Now, I'm going to...
What you learn?
I'm going to struggle with this one. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to try and put down 2 or 3 lessons every single episode. Now, I'm a little bit lucky because I have the privilege.
Is this your golden nugget book?
This is my golden nugget book. Do you see where I'm going?
Golden nugget.
Golden nugget.
Golden nugget book.
I've done it on purpose. Not coincidence at all.
You know you can print them, don't you?
Cork?
On your little carousel behind you.
What, for cork books?
Yeah.
The material
You
cork?
can personalise the front of them.
Yeah, I know.
You can print them.
Me and my dad printed some Ouija boards.
Magna.
Yeah. Me and my dad printed some Ouija
Magna
boards
goes onto
on
them,
cork.
doesn't it?
So, would you like to know a fun anecdote before we leave? Even though we said we were finishing 10 minutes ago.
Ouija boards.
My dad was a firefighter and he retired. And he's got a CNC machine and he makes Ouija boards and when I say Ouija boards, I don't mean tacky. He makes really antique looking, really old, like they look like 100 years old. And he makes a Ouija board. And obviously, he doesn't believe in it. This is just an ornament. This is a decorative item. You can't call Satan. You can't call John Lennon or Elvis or your mum. It's a decorative item. But anyway, we had this idea that we were going to do... They're real expensive. He sells them for a lot of money. He don't sell them for enough money, as I keep telling him, but he won't listen to me. But we had this idea of doing a cheap version.
He will do when you know. When...
I'll give him a call on board and I'll say, fucking told you. And anyway, we thought, how can we do a portable, lightweight version that's a little bit cheaper for those who can't afford a full book? And we were going to do it either on leather or you could buy this cork material in rolls. I tried it on that. Actually worked quite well on leather, but we printed it with Aquaflex.
Yeah.
Worked quite well.
Yeah, good.
Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, wasn't it? But episode 28.
It's normal for us. Yeah.
That's a wrap. Sign us out, Tony.
I think we're done.
We've had a good one, I think.
Right, we'll sign it out then. So, well, thank you very much for listening again. You have been listening to, in true, you've been framed. No, what's that? You've been served.
You've been served.
Are you being served? In true fashion, you have been listening to me, Tony Palmer from Palm Print, and
Danny Day from Flipper Sweet Print Co.
So thank you very much for joining us as we prattle on about what we did this week, and we go from dip tanks to Ouija boards and Little and Chill.
Little and Chill, that's my favourite. That's going in my book, that one.
So if you like what you hear, then hit the like button, leave us a comment, get involved. You know, don't be frightened of us. We'll drag you into our podcast, or we'll leave you out. We'll put you as anonymous if you like, but leave a comment, subscribe, like, and just try and get involved with us. Ask Tony.
Get us in it magazine.
There you go. Look, ask Tony if you got a question. If you got something that stumps you, something that's really been bugging you for a while, just slide into one of our DMs and just drop us a question. Leave it in the comments in YouTube or Spotify. Just try and get involved with it. We want to try and get as much audience participation.
If you want to get involved, why not follow our new Instagram account, which I've just set up?
Yes.
We've got 40 followers. I would like to get to 100 by end of January. So if you listen to this podcast and you're still listening, find us on Chippy Tea Official. I had to put official because Chippy Tea is already taken for some reason. So yeah, follow us on Instagram.
Is it a clothing brand?
I didn't. Yeah, there might be actually. There is actually a clothing brand not called Chippy Tea, but they have a T-shirt that says Chippy Tea.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I accidentally, and the graphics designer followed me about a week ago, and it was just pure coincidence. I was looking at his stuff and thought, oh, he's a gold designer. Hang on a minute, what's this? So we can't put that T-shirt
Chippy
on.
Tea. No.
Anyway, follow us on Instagram. That'd be lovely.
Yes, so if you keep on track with Instagram, you will hear some exclusive stuff that you don't hear anywhere else. Any updates and news that we've got, that's where it'll appear first, so we're not swamping each other's channels with it. And we'll start to change over to just Chippy Tea Instagram in the next coming months or so. So, yeah, give us a like, give us a follow so you can keep up with everything that's happening on the podcast. And it's a good place to drop in a DM that you're guaranteed will be seen by both of us. And again, ask me a question. Ask Danny a question. Have you got any questions for Danny?
Just him so far. I don't know why everybody avoids me
Any
for technical advice. I wonder why.
That's what we want. We want questions for Danny. Yeah, screw Ask Tony. We won't ask.
Don't ask me anything technical. Just ask me something silly. I'm the
just
silly
whisper it
aspect
to
of
me.
this podcast, I believe.
Yeah. Ask him which way he faces when he has a shower. Things like that. It's important. We need to know. We'll have a poll. I might put it on the Instagram, the first poll on Instagram.
Good idea. And on Spotify, when you upload it, you can actually add a poll to each episode. So this week's poll on Spotify,
there we go, then.
which way do you face in the shower?
Yeah, there we go. I think that's the way forward. So, thank you very much for joining us, and we will be here next week. Just a small little thing here. You're going to get this on a Sunday instead of a Friday because, we've got life. Life happens. It's been Christmas. We've lost a couple of days. Bear with us. It's fine. Have your Chippy Tea on a Sunday night instead of a Friday night. Go with it. You might like it. Put some mushy peas on it.
Isn't Friday chippy even a thing nowadays? I mean, if it were, chip oils wouldn't be up and rest at week, would they? Do you know what I mean?
Chip oil. Jesus, could you get any more Yorkshire? Chip oil.
Chip shop. Chippy won't be up.
When you have your sandwich, what's that piece of bread called that you have
Bread
with it?
cake. Cool. You do know we had this conversation in episode 1, don't you? It was like literally.
I know, yeah.
This is why when we had 250 viewers on episode 1, only 40 of them stayed around. That's all we did. We talk about fish.
This is why we need your little girly gold book so that we can see exactly what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Analytics. Well, no, which Chip Poppy episode.
Right. Okay. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening, and all remains to be said is,
Civvy, all best.
see you there. Bye.
Next week. Next tea. Stop.
I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry coulis. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.